Welcome back to the world of rare and historic coins. Today we are looking at an amazing one dime from the United States, a small coin with a big story behind it. Stay with us because its history might surprise you. So, let's get started. The 1986 D1 dime United States coin is a small but very important part of American coin history. Even though it is only worth 10 cents in everyday use, this coin represents decades of American heritage, design, and minting tradition. This coin belongs to the famous Roosevelt Dime series, which has been circulating in the United States since 1946. The series was created to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. Roosevelt was admired for his leadership during difficult times, including the Great Depression and World War II. After his death in 1945, the United States decided to honor him by placing his portrait on the dime coin. The design of the Roosevelt dime was created by an American sculptor named John R. Sinek, who was the chief engraver of the United States Mint. On the front side of the coin, known as the obverse, we see the left-facing portrait of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. Around the portrait, the words, "Liberty," and "In God We Trust," appear, representing important American values. On the reverse side of the coin, there is a unique and meaningful design. The center shows a torch, which represents liberty and freedom. On one side of the torch is an olive branch, symbolizing peace. On the other side is an oak branch, representing strength and independence. Together, these elements reflect the ideals of the United States. Now let's talk about the 1986 D Mint mark. The small letter, D, on the coin indicates that this coin was produced at the Denver Mint, one of the main United States mint facilities. The Denver Mint has been producing coins since 1906 and is known for minting billions of coins for circulation. In 1986, millions of Roosevelt dimes were produced at the Denver Mint. The estimated mintage of the 1986 D Roosevelt dime was over 1.5 billion coins. Because so many were produced, the coin is generally common in circulation. However, collectors still search for high-quality examples, especially coins in uncirculated condition. Another interesting aspect of the 1986 dime is its composition. Before 1965, dimes were made mostly of silver. But after 1965, due to rising silver prices, the United States Mint changed the composition of the dime. The 1986 dime is made from a clad composition, which means it contains layers of copper and nickel instead of silver. The coin is made of 75% copper and 25% nickel, bonded together in layers. This gives the coin its silver-like appearance while keeping production costs lower. The diameter of the dime is about 17.91 millimeters, and it weighs approximately 2.27 grams. Although the 1986 D dime is common, collectors often search for special varieties and mint errors. Sometimes coins can have mistakes during the minting process. These errors can include double strikes, off-center strikes, or die cracks. When such errors appear, they can make the coin much more valuable to collectors. For example, a regular circulated 1986 D dime is usually worth only its face value of 10 cents. However, if the coin is found in uncirculated condition, its value can be slightly higher, especially for collectors who want to complete a full Roosevelt dime collection. If the coin is graded by professional grading companies and receives a very high grade, such as MS67 or higher, its value may increase significantly. Rare high-grade coins are harder to find because most coins experience wear during circulation. Coin collecting, also known as numismatics, is a hobby enjoyed by millions of people around the world. Coins like the 1986 D Roosevelt dime help collectors understand history, art, and economics all at the same time. Even though this coin may seem small and simple, it carries a story that connects generations of Americans. From the memory of President Roosevelt to the craftsmanship of the United States Mint, every detail of the coin reflects an important part of history. Today, collectors still search through their pocket change hoping to find unique coins, rare varieties, or high-grade examples. Sometimes a simple dime can become an exciting discovery for a collector. So the next time you see a 1986 D United States dime, take a closer look. It might just be a small coin, but it represents decades of American tradition and minting excellence. The United States 1 dime is one of the smallest coins in American currency, but it has an important place in the country's history. Among these coins, the 1986 dime is part of the long-running Roosevelt Dime series, which has been used in everyday American life for many decades. The Roosevelt dime was first introduced in 1946, shortly after the death of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. Roosevelt was one of the most respected presidents in the history of the United States. He led the country through the difficult years of the Great Depression and also during World War II. Because of his leadership and popularity, the United States Mint decided to honor him by placing his portrait on the dime coin. The design of this coin was created by John R. Sinek, who was the chief engraver of the United States Mint. His design was simple but meaningful. On the front of the coin, we see the portrait of President Roosevelt facing to the left. Around the portrait are the words, "Liberty," and "In God We Trust." These words represent the core values and beliefs of the United States. The reverse side of the coin also carries a symbolic design. In the center is a torch, which represents freedom and enlightenment. Beside the torch are two branches. One is an olive branch, symbolizing peace, and the other is an oak branch, symbolizing strength and stability. This combination shows the ideals that the United States wants to represent to the world. By the time the 1986 dime was produced, the Roosevelt design had already been in circulation for about 40 years. Millions of these coins were minted each year because the dime is widely used in everyday transactions across the country. One important detail collectors often notice is the mint mark on the coin. Coins produced in the United States are made in different mint facilities, such as Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. When a dime has the letter D, it means the coin was produced at the Denver Mint, which is one of the largest coin-producing facilities in the United States. The 1986 dime was produced using a copper-nickel-clad composition. Earlier dimes, before 1965, were made from silver. However, due to the rising cost of silver, the United States Mint changed the metal composition. Modern dimes like the 1986 version contain copper inside and a nickel layer on the outside, giving the coin its bright silver color. Collectors usually pay attention to the condition of the coin. Coins that have been used for many years often show scratches and wear. These circulated coins usually remain close to their face value. However, coins that are kept in uncirculated condition, meaning they were never used in daily transactions, can be more valuable to collectors. Sometimes collectors also search for minting errors. During the minting process, mistakes can occasionally happen. These errors might include double images, off-center designs, or unusual marks. When such errors occur, they can make a coin more interesting and sometimes more valuable. Even though the 1986 dime may not be considered a rare coin, it is still a meaningful piece of American coinage history. It represents the legacy of President Roosevelt, the craftsmanship of the United States Mint, and the everyday currency used by millions of Americans. For coin collectors and history lovers, coins like the 1986 United States dime are small reminders of the past. Each coin tells a story about the time when it was made, the people it honors, and the country that produced it. And that is why even a small 10-cent coin can hold a fascinating place in the world of coin collecting.